Hi, my name's John Dick, and in this development blog video, we'll cover 4 different skill sets: stealth, camouflage, awareness, and tactics. These skills dynamically change depending on external influences or choices you make with your character during game time. Before we start with the scat video, we'd like to say something about the unfair advantage of third-person perspective over first-person perspective. In the current video, we've recreated the worst-case scenario that players can experience in all third-person shooting games today. Not only that TPP is unfair over FPP, it's unfair in general since players on elevated positions have a huge advantage over other players. So far, there's no game that has provided a solution for this problem. Some games do offer split servers depending on the view, but in our opinion, that's kinda lame. So, what exactly did we do to make things better? In Scum, everything you experience is a projection of what your character experiences in the game. No matter which view you prefer, you will not be able to see things if your character doesn't see them or feel them. This means if you want to see behind the wall, you'll have to take a peek and risk compromising your position. The moment you take a look, your character's awareness will kick in. What will be shown to you on the screen is a result of complex equations that involve your character's awareness and tactic skill versus the enemy's stealth and camouflage skills. The red outlines representing that tactic skill have been activated also. Notice that it works for both first-person and third-person perspective. Once tactics time expires, you'll lose information about the enemy's position. The only way to get it again is to take another look. Okay, let's cover the tactics skill first. Tactics is linked with the intelligence attribute and represents the ability to predict trajectories of objects in 3D space. Imagine you're looking through the window and notice a car slowing down at the crossroad with a left turn signal turned on. Even if you stop looking at that car, you'll have a rough idea about its trajectory. In the video, the character on the right has advanced level in tactics and is able to track its target much longer than the character on the left. Remember, tactics will not work if your target is in peripheral vision. It works only for central vision. Here you can see 3 players with 2 different awareness skill levels. While the first and third one are observing the surroundings more casually, the soldier in the middle has activated focus mode by holding down the right mouse button. The enemy soldier with the activated camouflage is sneaking directly towards them. The first character is what we call a trained observer. He has advanced awareness skill level and will notice the enemy almost immediately once he leaves the cover. The middle one with activated focus mode will notice the enemy a bit later. By being focused, your character is paying more attention, and that will give you a bonus to awareness's hotspot radius. The third soldier is the last to notice the enemy. As you train your characters to observe, hotspot radius will increase. Awareness skill will determine what is rendered and what isn't. And even if things are rendered, that doesn't mean that it will be easy to notice them. Well-camouflaged snipers can totally blend in with surroundings and become almost invisible. So, if focus mode is so great with the bonus multiplier, why shouldn't you use it all the time? The character on the right is using focus mode to observe the surroundings while jogging through the level. His stamina is dropping slightly faster than the stamina of the character on the left. The influence of the focus mode is really small, but still, if you combine all the other factors that impact your character's performance, it may be crucial in life and death situations. Awareness is defined by 2 factors: hotspot radius and fall-off radius. If the camouflaged objects are farther away and out of fall-off radius, your character will not be able to see them, unless he has some sort of magnification, for example, a sniper rifle. All magnifying devices automatically add bonuses to hotspot and fall-off, making it easier for you to notice things at higher distances. Looking through the scope also automatically activates the focus mode. Awareness is not only useful in combat situations, it also provides you with benefits when you're searching for useful items like food or gear. If you use focus mode, awareness will highlight the items within your spot radius. This will help you to see them from a distance, which is especially useful for smaller items. Characters with low awareness skill will have to come closer to detect the same items. During the nighttime, awareness spot radius is significantly reduced. Unless you find some kind of night vision device, you'll not be able to detect things with the same efficiency as during the day. A higher level of awareness will give you some additional benefits, such as the ability to detect imminent dangers. It won't work 100% of the time, but when you get notified, be sure to react swiftly, or you may lose your life. Okay, let's cover the stealth skill now. The stealth skill is linked with the dexterity attribute, but it also depends on other factors. To determine the final level of noise that your character makes, we first analyze the type and amount of gear your character carries. Then we take into consideration the movement and ground material type. This is the starting point of the noise level calculations. The next step is to factor in the overall weight of the character. Again, this system is fully dynamic, and it's linked directly with the character's metabolism. All things that influence body mass are taken into consideration, like fluid or food intake, for example. The larger the body, the more noise it will make. Finally, the last thing taken into consideration is actual stealth skill level. The higher the skill, the better you silence the noise that your character makes. Modern gaming engines have many limitations. Don't you simply hate when you think that you're safely hidden far away in dense foliage just to realize that you stick out like a dog's balls? In Scum, our methods allow players to be equally competitive regardless of the graphical settings they use to play the game. The guy at camp is preparing some delicious beans. Let's call him Donald. 3 soldiers are approaching him over the hill. The left one, called Huey, is crawling through dense vegetation. The middle one, Dewey, is crouching his way towards the larger bush, and the right one is simply walking straight in the open like John Wayne in Sands of Iwo Jima. Let's address him as Louie. Notice that from the Donald's perspective, he only sees Louie. Dewey is well hidden in the bush, while Huey can't be seen because he's well camouflaged. On far distances, the game engine doesn't render foliage, yet still Huey is invisible until he decides to blow his cover simply by changing his stance. At that moment, his camouflage has been terminated and he becomes visible. The camouflage skill can only be activated in dense foliage when your character is prone and out of plain sight. Everything you just saw is still in development, but in short, these were the basics of scat skills. Thank you for watching, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and our development blog at www.scumgame.com. By the way, did you notice all 7 people in this scene? No? Congratulations! You just got wasted. Get good, scrub. Don't forget to check out our other Scum videos for more features and general badassery. We'll see you next time. Hi, my name's John Dick, and I'm here to explain to you how unarmed combat works in Scum. Without further ado, let's get started. The unarmed combat in brawling has 4 different skill levels of expertise that the players can reach, starting from no skill level up to advanced skill level. However, the character's skill is just one of many things that are taken into consideration when combat begins. The other important factors are the player's ability to control his character during the combat and the physical condition of his character. Now that you know the basics, let's take a look at how the combat system works in other modern survival games. For this, we created a simulation of the type of unarmed combat that you can find in practically every survival game available on Steam. From what you can see here, the character is constrained at the hip, but you can tilt their upper body and throw random punches toward your opponent. The camera is locked behind the character. It doesn't provide the player with a good overview of the situation, and most of the time it's really hard to tell where the punch will land. Obviously, this is a very basic implementation, and we could have done it the same in Scum, but we wanted to make something different. So, what exactly did we do in Scum to make things better? First, we wanted to find out the best way to fit martial arts in Scum's gameplay mechanics, and we quickly realized that the angle of the camera has to be changed. The free camera view not only provides players with a better overview of the situation, it also helps when you have to engage multiple opponents at the same time. The game also provides a first-person perspective camera for the combat mode, and everything works well there too. Once you enter combat, you'll be able to perform different moves and attacks. For example, you can try to circle around your opponent and control the fight from a distance. During the combat, you can defend yourself or attack. From defensive moves, you can use block or dodge, and from the attacks, you can choose kicks, punches, and combo moves. A dodge is used when you want to outmaneuver your opponent and then strike back in a counterattack with a different combination of punches and kicks. With the left mouse button, you can perform punches. With the right mouse button, you can do kicks. Combos are performed by pressing a combination of keys followed by left or right mouse button, depending on whether you want a punching or kicking combo. The skill level of your character will define types of moves your character will use during the combat. So, for example, he might do a simple jab or a cross. Or, if he's more skillful, then he can step in, close the distance, and use a more powerful punch. Combos are special attack combinations that inflict more damage than a normal punch or kick, but they also drain stamina at a faster rate. The best way to use a combo is against a dodge or a block, and if you perform the combo successfully, you'll increase the chance for a knockout. Along with the skill level, the character's attributes will also influence the outcome of the fight. Strength, constitution, and dexterity are attributes that the player chooses during the character creation process. But once the game starts, these parameters will gradually change depending on the character's diet, metabolism level, actions players take, and overall health status of the character. That will, of course, be reflected on the character's speed, endurance, and strength during the battle. With proper diet and workout, it's possible to boost all these attributes to their maximum values. The only exception is the intelligence attribute, which will stay the same or drop down if, for example, a character gets shot in the head. In the current presentation, you can see different skill levels and how they will be represented in the game. Our plan is to make different sets of animations for each skill level to allow players to visually recognize the skill levels of their foes. This is still a work in progress, and it will not be included in the early access version of the game. Everything that your character carries in the game will have an impact on how you will perform in the combat. Heavy gear will make your moves slow and sluggish, and it will drain your stamina more quickly. It's recommended that you drop excessive weight before you enter a fight. The combat skill can be effectively used against other players, NPCs, and it can be used against animals too. Although we do not recommend you attack bigger and more dangerous animals unless, of course, you're sure that you can beat them or outrun them. In short, these were the basics about Scum unarmed combat skill, and everything you saw is still a work in progress. We aim for further optimization of the combat process to make it more fluid and enjoyable. Future plans are to replace mocaps with more realistic animations, to make hit reactions for blocks, and, because our system is modular, once everything is set up, we plan to include other martial arts as additional combat skills that players will be able to choose. We hope you have enjoyed this presentation, and if you want to find out more about Scum, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or our dev blog on scumgame.com.